Which of the following is not a cause of hydraulic brake failure? A. Loss of hydraulic pressure. B. Brake fade on long hills. C. Downshifting. C. Downshifting. Most cases of hydraulic brake failure come from one of two causes. The brakes may fail due to a loss of hydraulic pressure or due to overuse on long hills, causing the brakes to fade. When backing a truck, you should A. Only use the side mirrors on the driver's side of the vehicle. B. Use both side mirrors. C. Not use a helper. B. Use both side mirrors. When backing a truck, always use the mirrors on both sides of the vehicle. Have someone help you whenever possible. To prevent your vehicle from rolling backward when beginning to move, you can A. Partly engage the clutch before taking your foot off the brake pedal. B. Place the vehicle in second gear. C. Use the parking brake when stopping. A. Partly engage the clutch before taking your foot off the brake pedal. To ensure that your vehicle does not roll backward when beginning to move after a stop, you should partly engage the clutch before removing your right foot from the brake pedal. If you realize you may be running late to your destination, you should A. Speed up. B. Get upset. C. Deal with it and drive at a safe speed. C. Deal with it and drive at a safe speed. To reduce the risk of developing aggressive driving behavior, you should take measures to manage your stress. One strategy to do this is to simply take a deep breath and accept your circumstances if you realize you will be late to your destination. Regrooved tires? A. Should not be used on any vehicle. B. Should not be used on the front of a bus. C. Should not be used on trucks hauling gravel. B. Should not be used on the front of a bus. Regrooved, recapped, or retreaded tires are prohibited on the front wheels of a bus. What tells you how much pressure is in your vehicle's air tanks? A. The supply pressure gauge. B. The ABS malfunction lamp. C. The tractor protection valve. A. The supply pressure gauge. A vehicle that is equipped with air brakes must also be equipped with a supply pressure gauge. This gauge tells the driver how much air pressure is in each of the vehicle's air tanks. What should you do if your vehicle gets stuck on railroad tracks? A. Stay in the vehicle. B. Get out of the vehicle and call for assistance. C. Continue trying to get your vehicle off the tracks until you are successful. B. Get out of the vehicle and call for assistance. If your CMV gets stuck on railroad tracks, you should immediately leave the vehicle and get away from the tracks. Check the signposts or signal housing at the crossing for emergency contact information and call 911, or another appropriate emergency number. Cargo inside a trailer? A. Does not need to be secured. B. Should be stacked no more than 3 feet high. C. Should be secured to prevent movement. C. Should be secured to prevent movement. Cargo inside a trailer must be secured appropriately to prevent it from shifting in transit. Air tank drains? A. Should not be used in cold weather. B. Are helpful to remove water and oil from the air tanks. C. Are used to move air to the brakes. B. Are helpful to remove water and oil from the air tanks. Compressed air in an air brake system usually has a certain amount of water and oil in it. This can harm the system if allowed to accumulate. Air tanks have drain valves to aid in removing water and oil from the compressed air. When coming to a stop, you should apply the brake pedal by A. Pushing down gradually. B. Pushing down quickly. C. Pulling up gradually. A. Pushing down gradually. When stopping, you should push the brake pedal down gradually. Braking gradually will help you to maintain proper control of your vehicle. Fill in the blank. Is an example of required emergency equipment. A. A spare electrical fuse. B. A loud horn. C. A battery-operated flashlight. A. A spare electrical fuse. All commercial motor vehicles are required to be equipped with the proper emergency equipment. This may include spare electrical fuses, 3 red reflective triangles, 6 fuses, or 3 liquid burning flares, and at least 1 properly charged and rated fire extinguisher. If your brakes fail while you are traveling downhill and there is no available escape ramp, you should A. Keep pumping the brakes. B. Turn the vehicle off. C. Drive into an open field. C. Drive into an open field. If your brakes fail while you are driving downhill, you should first look for an escape ramp to stop your vehicle. If no ramp is available, you should look for an alternative place to bring your vehicle to a stop, such as an open field or side road that flattens out or turns uphill. When near a railroad crossing, A. You should expect to hear every approaching train. B. You may not hear a train, even if one is approaching. C. You will hear 2 short blasts of a train's horn if a train is approaching. B. You may not hear a train, even if one is approaching. You should never assume that you will hear an approaching train. The train operator may fail to sound the horn, or the use of a train's horn may be prohibited in a specific area. Even if the train does sound its horn, noise from inside your own vehicle may prevent you from hearing the train until it is dangerously close. In a dual air brake system, A. Air tanks are shared between both systems. B. Each system has its own air tanks. C. You must designate which system you are using. B. Each system has its own air tanks. There are 2 air brake systems in a dual air brake system. The systems share a set of brake controls, but each system has its own tanks, hoses, and lines. Slow down and be extra careful. A. When traveling in normal traffic. B. When driving on dry pavement. C. When approaching a work zone. C. When approaching a work zone. Slow down and be especially careful when driving in and around work zones, in places where the pavement drops off sharply at the edge of the road, when foreign objects are present on the road, and on freeway on and off ramps. Which of the following determines your blood alcohol concentration, BAC? A. How much you drink. B. How frequently you drink. C. The temperature of the drink. A. How much you drink. The main factors that determine a person's blood alcohol concentration, BAC, are how much alcohol has been consumed, how quickly it was consumed, and the person's body weight. If an aggressive driver is involved in a crash down the road, you should A. Pull over and yell at them. B. Stop after the crash scene and report the other driver's behavior to police. C. Block the driver in with your vehicle. B. Stop after the crash scene and report the other driver's behavior to police. If you observe a crash involving an aggressive driver, you should stop a safe distance from the crash scene, wait for police to arrive, and inform them of the aggressive behavior you witnessed. When starting an engine, oil pressure should come up to a normal level. A. Within seconds. B. Within 5 minutes. C. After about 3 minutes. A. Within seconds. Look at your truck's gauges when starting the engine. The oil pressure in an engine should come up to a normal level within seconds of the vehicle's engine being started. How many daily hours of sleep does an adult need to maintain alertness? A. 6 to 7. B. 7 to 8. C. 8 to 9. D. 4 to 5. C. 8 to 9. Being properly rested is essential to the safe operation of a CMV. To maintain alertness, most people need 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night. When pulled off on the side of the road, A. A driver should keep the driver's side door open. B. A driver should turn on the emergency flashers. C. The driver should wave their arms. B. A driver should turn on the emergency flashers. If you must stop on the side of the road, make sure to use your 4-way emergency flashers. This is particularly important at night. If the spring brakes are on, you should A. Not use the brake pedal. B. Press the accelerator. C. Move the steering wheel. A. Not use the brake pedal. Do not use the brake pedal when the spring brakes are on. This could damage the brakes by subjecting them to the combined forces of springs and air pressure. During the driving test, the examiner will be scoring you on A. How well spoken you are. B. How quickly you arrive to your destination. C. General driving behavior. C. General driving behavior. During the on-road driving test, the examiner will score you on specific driving maneuvers as well as on your general driving behavior. You must drive in a safe and responsible manner, obey all traffic signs, signals, and laws, and not cause an accident or commit a moving violation. If turning to avoid a hazard, A. You should brake hard. B. You should not brake as it may cause the wheels to lock. C. You should turn very sharply. B. You should not brake as it may cause the wheels to lock. You should not brake while making a quick turn to avoid a hazard. Doing so could cause your wheels to lock and make your vehicle skid out of control. Pre-trip inspections are A. Recommended. B. Needed only for trips longer than 100 miles in length. C. Required by law. C. Required by law. Federal and state laws require drivers to inspect their vehicles before every trip, regardless of length. When exiting a vehicle, it is important to maintain fill in the blank with your vehicle at all times. A. 3 points of contact. B. 4 points of contact. C. 2 points of contact. A. 3 points of contact. As you exit your vehicle during the basic vehicle control skills test, you must face the vehicle and maintain 3 points of contact at all times. If your testing vehicle is a bus, you must maintain contact with the handrail. Exiting the vehicle incorrectly may result in automatic failure of the basic control skills test. When braking with ABS, you should A. Pump the brake pedal. B. Brake normally. C. Brake harder than you would with a different braking system. B. Brake normally. When braking a vehicle equipped with an anti-lock braking system ABS, you should not brake any differently than you would if driving a vehicle with a different braking system. Rust around wheel nuts may mean A. It has rained recently. B. The nuts could be loose. C. The tires should be replaced. B. The nuts could be loose. Rust around wheel nuts may mean that they are loose. Check the tightness of the nuts if you see any rust in the area. If you are turning left at an intersection where there are two available turn lanes, A. It is best to use the right lane. B. It doesn't matter which lane you use. C. It is best to use the left lane. A. It is best to use the right lane. You may have to swing right to safely make a left turn. If there are two left turn lanes available at an intersection, you should always begin your turn in the rightmost lane. An empty truck? A. Requires a shorter stopping distance than a full truck. B. Requires a longer stopping distance than a full truck. C. Takes the same distance to stop as a full truck. B. Requires a longer stopping distance than a full truck. Empty trucks require longer stopping distances than full trucks because they have less traction available. Your CDL will be revoked if A. You want to add an endorsement. B. Your privilege to operate your personal vehicle is revoked. C. You have not paid a toll. B. Your privilege to operate your personal vehicle is revoked. If your privilege to operate your personal vehicle is revoked, cancelled, or suspended due to moving traffic violations, you will also lose your CDL. This does not apply if your license is revoked due to parking violations. What does an air compressor do in an air brake system? A. It pumps air into the air storage tanks. B. It fills the tires. C. It moves air to the back of the truck. A. It pumps air into the air storage tanks. In an air brake system, the air compressor pumps air into the air storage tanks. The air compressor is controlled by the air compressor governor. Hydroplaning usually occurs A. When tires are properly inflated. B. When driving at speeds slower than 15 miles per hour. C. In areas where water collects on the road. C. In areas where water collects on the road. Hydroplaning occurs on surfaces where water has collected. If there is enough water, vehicles can hydroplane at speeds as low as 30 miles per hour. Hydroplaning becomes more likely if tires are underinflated or if the tread is worn. If you are disqualified from driving, A. Your employer will be notified by the state. B. You must notify your employer within 2 business days. C. You must notify your employer within a month. B. You must notify your employer within 2 business days. You must notify your employer within 2 business days if your license is suspended, revoked, or cancelled, or if you are otherwise disqualified from driving. When operating a vehicle with a dual air brake system, the driver should A. Let the vehicle warm up before driving to ensure that the fuel reaches the engine. B. Let the air compressor build up a minimum of 100 psi pressure in the primary and secondary systems before driving. C. Begin driving just after the vehicle starts. B. Let the air compressor build up a minimum of 100 psi pressure in the primary and secondary systems before driving. Before driving a vehicle with a dual air brake system, allow time for the air compressor to build up a minimum of 100 psi pressure in both the primary and secondary systems. Watch the air pressure gauges to monitor the pressure levels. Blocking a load? A. Is dangerous and should never be done. B. Is essential to preventing cargo from moving in transit. C. Is only done with liquid loads. B. Is essential to preventing cargo from moving in transit. Cargo should be blocked to prevent it from sliding around in transit. The shifting of weight in transit can make steering and handling difficult for the driver. If you have more than one license, A. You likely won't be caught. B. You should not tell anyone. C. You may get caught through the state's shared computer network. C. You may get caught through the state's shared computer network. All states share driver information through a computerized database in order to prevent the issuance of multiple licenses to a single person. It is prohibited for a person to have more than one driver license. Before a trip, you should make sure that A. The brake pedal sticks. B. The gas pedal is loose. C. The grooved pedal surface has not been smoothed out. C. The grooved pedal surface has not been smoothed out. When checking your vehicle's pedals during a pre-trip inspection, you should ensure that there is nothing under or around the pedals that will obstruct their use. Make sure the pedals are in proper working condition and that the surfaces of the pedals are grooved, if applicable. To warn drivers behind you that you will be slowing down, you should A. Turn on the right turn signal followed by the left turn signal. B. Tap your brake pedal a few times to illuminate your brake lights. C. Swerve from side to side to get their attention. B. Tap your brake pedal a few times to illuminate your brake lights. To let drivers behind you know that you plan to slow down, lightly tap your brake pedal a few times to flash your brake lights. It is important to communicate your intentions to other drivers. Which of the following is acceptable if found during a pre-trip inspection? A. Mismatched tire sizes. B. Tread of 3/32 of an inch in the grooves of the front tires. C. Tires manufactured by different makers. C. Tires manufactured by different makers. When inspecting your tires, verify that there is at least 4/32 of an inch of tread depth in every major groove on the front tires, and tread depth of at least 2/32 of an inch on the other tires. Tires on the same vehicle should all be the same size. When starting a vehicle, warning lights and buzzers. A. Should not light up or sound. B. Should turn on and shut off quickly. C. Should turn on and remain on. B. Should turn on and shut off quickly. After starting a vehicle's engine, the warning lights and buzzers should turn on, then quickly turn off. To change lanes, you should A. Move quickly. B. Move slowly and smoothly. C. Hold down your horn. B. Move slowly and smoothly. Always change lanes slowly and smoothly. If you did not see drivers who are already using the lane you wish to occupy, this will give them a chance to get out of your way or honk their horns to alert you. Always signal when changing lanes. If unable to tell if the road is becoming icy and slippery, a driver A. Should try guessing. B. May open their window and feel the front of the side mirror for ice. C. Should look at the road closely. B. May open their window and feel the front of the side mirror for ice. If you think the road surface may be becoming icy but you are not certain, you can open your window and feel the front of the side mirror, mirror support, or antenna. If ice has formed on any of these items, the road is likely becoming icy as well. When should a driver sign a vehicle inspection report? A. After every trip. B. If noted defects are repaired. C. After each fueling. B. If noted defects are repaired. You must sign a vehicle inspection report only if defects were noted and either certified to have been repaired or certified as not needing to be repaired. While driving, fill in the blank. generally hold spring brakes in place? A. Air pressure. B. Electricity. C. Gasoline. A. Air pressure. While driving, spring brakes are generally held in place by air pressure. If the air pressure gets low enough, the springs will activate the brakes. Before attempting to put out an engine fire? A. The hood should be opened. B. The engine should be turned off. C. The accelerator should be depressed to use up the remaining fuel. B. The engine should be turned off. If you experience an engine fire, you should turn off the engine as soon as safely possible. Avoid opening the vehicle's hood when extinguishing the fire. The use of a handheld mobile device while driving is A. Prohibited. B. Acceptable if weather conditions are clear. C. Permitted if use is work-related. A. Prohibited. Using a handheld mobile telephone while operating a CMV is both illegal and dangerous. Compared to talking on a cell phone while driving, texting while driving is A. Much safer. B. Just as safe. C. More dangerous. C. More dangerous. Texting while driving is even more dangerous than speaking on a phone while driving. In addition to being mentally distracting, texting is also physically distracting. People working on a disabled vehicle? A. Are probably aware of the roadway. B. May be distracted by the repair and not pay attention to the roadway. C. Are exempt from traffic laws. B. May be distracted by the repair and not pay attention to the roadway. Be cautious when driving near people who are working on a disabled vehicle on the side of the road. They may be focused on the repair and not paying attention to nearby traffic. When applying your brakes, the vehicle should A. Pull to one side. B. Squeak. C. Not pull to either side. C. Not pull to either side. Your vehicle pulling to one side or the other while you are braking can indicate trouble with the brakes. A ramp's posted speed limit? A. Is suitable for all vehicles. B. Is suitable for some vehicles, but may be too fast for a large CMV. C. Is just a suggestion and may be exceeded. B. Is suitable for some vehicles, but may be too fast for a large CMV. Posted speed limits on exit and entrance ramps often show speeds that are safe to be driven by cars. However, these speed limits may be too fast for large or heavily loaded vehicles, and CMV drivers will likely need to slow down to a speed below the posted limit.